Hello fellow bikers, this is Jim Hendricks. I thought I'd narrate this video I just made of a one-day adventure to the Isle of Wight. What was fun about this trip is that it is a middle winter trip on 16th of December 2018. But as you can see from the video, it was really quite a sunny and nice day. At the beginning here you see me getting started from Leamington. Leamington is about a 98-mile ride from where I live up in North London. So to get there at 8:30, I had to get off at about a 6 a.m. start. But then getting on the ferry was pretty easy. There was no backups or delays. Happy to get on board and excited about getting started with the trip. Taking the ferry to Leamington to Yarmouth is not terribly cheap anymore. It was about £41 round trip. I signed up in advance the night before to get that rate. Took off on about the 8:30 a.m. ferry and signed up to come back on the 2:05 ferry in the afternoon, trying to be not getting too late back to home because it gets dark around 4 p.m. at this time of year in the UK. Here we are disembarking from the ferry to Yarmouth on the Isle of Wight. Pretty easy and straightforward, especially when you put on first. And the first thing I decided to do after getting off the ferry is head west over towards the Needle Park. The Needles is the white chalk outcropping at the very western tip of the island, with a beautiful lighthouse out on the end that I've sailed around once or twice when I used to have a yacht down in Solent. The ride over to the Needles Park is really rural and pretty, and it was a beautiful sun. As I could see throughout the day, there were road crews out who were sweeping off debris off the roads because there had been heavy rains the last couple of days beforehand over the weekend. This ride took place on a Monday. I passed by the retail park at the park to get out to look at the Needles itself. And then I do a little off-roading through the parking lot just to get back on the asphalt. I would in the future like to take the bike off-road more on the Isle of Wight because I imagine there could be some good green lanes to explore, some farmers' fields, which would be a lot of fun. After the Needles, I head more south down towards a place called Freshwater Bay, where there's a nice hotel with a view of the Freshwater Bay beach. Here it is. It's called the Albion. And it's fun to pull in and just stop in the parking lot for a few minutes to enjoy the view, or if you got the time, walk down on the beach. Beautiful weather, really amazing. Blue sky, sun. Fairly cold though. It was about 9 degrees Celsius. After Freshwater Bay, it was time to head south down towards St. Catherine's Point in Knighton. This is the A3055 military road, which is basically my favorite road on the island. It's unusual in the southern UK, at least, to have roads that go right along the coastline like this, where you get beautiful views of like the English Channel and sweeping curves and broad open spaces, and typically it's something you have to go more to Scotland for. There's a pull over here for Compton Bay and Beach, another great place just to take a look back at the white chalk cliffs that head out towards the Needles on the west side of the island. So I decided to pull over here in the parking lot and stretch my legs and take some photos, and it's one of my favorite pull-offs, again on Military Road down on the southwestern side of the island. Here's my KTM bike, which is my favorite road touring and off-road big bike, adventure bike. Then, after Compton Bay, time to get back onto Military Road and head to another pull-off, not too much farther down, maybe about 5 miles down the bottom side of the island. Again, the weather is just beautiful. There are some small villages on Military Road as you go down south. The next scenic pullover is a place called Black Gang Viewpoint. It's a nice place to pull over and take another look at the coastline, but it also has walking access to the Isle of Wight coastal path. I took a moment after parking up the bike and locking up to enjoy the views, but then also to walk on the path up to the edge of the coastal path to see what type of views it had. And it's really quite stunning and beautiful, especially with the weather like it was today. Here's a view looking out down across the English Channel, down close to St. Catherine's Point, which is the most southern part on the Isle of Wight. After that stop, it was time once again to get back on the Military Road and keep on heading south, and at this point I decided to do a bit of a loop. I went into Knighton, which is down the southern part, then I headed up north a little bit into the central part of the island. As you can see, there was like zero traffic that day because it was a Monday, December 16th, middle of the winter. Completely different place in the summer with lots of tourist traffic, but in the middle of the winter, if you're lucky on a day like this, you can just have stunning views. So I did a loop up into the farmlands, and then I basically came back down to the south because I like military roads so much. I decided to drive it back the opposite direction from east to west. And here's some views of what it looked like coming back from the other direction. Kind of fun because you get to see a lot of the chalk cliffs coming back. This is back into Freshwater Bay again, where I was earlier to stop at the Albion Hotel up there to the left. Then I cut back towards the center of the island again, using a different route, because it was time to go get some lunch. It was getting to be about 11 in the morning at this point. Passing through villages, and then this wonderful rough descent down to the River Medina, which is in the center of the island, to a place called the Folly Reach, where a lot of yachts and sailors go, because there's a wonderful inn there called the Folly Inn. Here we are arriving at it. Does really good lunches and dinners, also famous for dancing on the tables on weekends. This is a place we came to many times when I had a sailboat on the Solent. It's a nice place to chill out and moor up and relax, but now, to me, it's just a great place to walk around and take a look at the sailboats again, and relax a little bit on a motorcycle tour like this. And of course, you can walk right down the docks and take a look at the sailboats and see what's happening. And then I headed into the Folly for a fantastic fajita lunch. After that, it was time to get started. It was about 1 o'clock, which is fairly early, but I wanted to have plenty of time to enjoy the ride up out of the Folly Reach, then across the island to the west back to Yarmouth to catch the ferry to Lymington. I hope this video gives you an idea of how beautiful these country roads are on the Isle of Wight. Even compared to the Cotswolds or the Chilterns, I find the roads to be fantastic. Narrow, wooded, green, really refreshing to ride on after riding around the London perimeter for so long. So to me it's a fantastic getaway and a real breath of fresh air to get out and ride on the Isle of Wight. Almost too soon, I was back up on the north coast again, heading towards Yarmouth and making my way back to the ferry dock. Again, even on the north side of the island, there's some really nice roads that run right along the Solent. So here's the approach into the Yarmouth ferry terminal. Roll on in with my reserved spot, show it to the attendant, get a receipt, and like most ferry terminals, on a motorbike you're allowed to pull up around the standing traffic in the lines because they normally like to load the motorbikes, maybe not first, but early in the process, so you're up at the front of the ferry instead of stuck in the back. And metal ramps and all that are just fine on the White Link ferries. I didn't find them much of a challenge at all. Some people are worried about going up steeply inclined metal ramps with motorcycle tires. I've never really had any problem. There's no real reason not to. You might also notice that the bikes are just parked on the ferry. They weren't strapped down or anything for rough seas because there were no rough seas. The Solent was wonderfully flat that day, and the 30-minute crossing from Yarmouth back to Lymington went super smooth. And then we disembarked right off the bat. We were up in front, and we had a nice little loop around the side of Lymington. It's a nice town to visit. We used to visit with the sailboat as well. Nice waterfront, some great seafood restaurants to go to. And after that, it was time to start heading north, getting back to the M3 to get back up to London. And as mentioned, about 98-mile ride, starting at about 2:30, 2:45 in the afternoon. So it was dark by the time I got home. But overall, fantastic, refreshing trip. Really feel lucky that I got to do it.